Now, here's your favorite president's favorite podcast, Radio Days with Gary Music Miller and co-host Dave Black.
Hello, once again, and welcome to another exciting episode of Radio Days with Gary Music Miller. I'm Dave Black, your co-host. This is Gary Music Miller, longtime voice on-air personality, as they say, at WKEE, as well as a longtime music director for over 30 years. Yeah. And that's a task in and of itself.
It is indeed. You have to listen to a lot of songs when you're a music director.
A couple, maybe.
Yeah, I'm guessing I'm probably listened to tens of thousands over the 40 years.
Yeah. So as usual, we're coming to you from the Museum of Radio and Technology at 1640 Florence Avenue. Talk about that a little later as well. But right now I'm going to turn it over to Gary, and he's going to get started on his stuff.
Well, I haven't said thank you in a while. I do want to thank you folks who have subscribed, and invite you, if you're not a regular listener and for some reason you're not subscribed, to subscribe. That always helps us out. And also want to thank people who tuned into us by accident. Maybe you typed in the words radio or music and we came up. And if you enjoy what we do, hope you'll join us more often every time we do something. We had planned to do something originally on the 1st of February, and then Mother Nature got in the way and everything was snowed and iced under, so we're getting our first show to you probably in close to a month. But we're back. We try to do one every couple of weeks.
And if you remember the old television commercial, you can't fool Mother Nature.
That's right. You certainly can't. You certainly can't. A little bit of salt didn't help either.
No, not a bit.
I usually mention, by the way, we invite you to stay to the end of the show. We go into 2 or 3 different directions. We've got, I think, hopefully a very interesting topic for you today that'll shake your memories up if you're 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, in age, not in decades, but in age. First thing I'll do is mention the recent deaths in the music business. A fellow named Brad Arnold passed away on February 7th. He was only 47 years old. He was with Three Doors Down.
Yeah. And
that was kind of a shock. You think there are certain people you're going to outlive, and then somebody at 40, half my age, passes away. It's like, oh. And very sad note for me, a Twitter friend for a long, long time, and certainly my favorite band of all time. I haven't been shy about it. Three Dog Night. Actually made my wife go to Paintsville, Kentucky, to like a barn that they had there, and they were playing there. And that's the one time I got to see them. But Chuck Negron, Three Dog Night, passed away on February 2nd at the age of 83. So he had a few years on me. That's all I've got. I don't know if anybody's gone in the last 2 or 3 days. I had a couple of mentions I wanted to say to people who had written me on Twitter, which will always be Twitter to me, on X. Pardon me. Chad Kirkpatrick asked me, where were you programming when you were, I can't read my own writing, and I've got to buy a printer sometime. When you were programming country music, was there any song you really loved? Interesting story on that. There is a song by a guy named T.G. Shepherd. He's married to a girl named Lang. I can't remember her first name. It's not Katie, but it's somebody Lang. Forgive me, Ms. Shepherd. Ms. Lang Shepherd, for getting your name. But I saw him on Twitter and wrote to him, and I said, you know what? One of my favorite country songs of all time boils down to the last line of the song. And I wrote to him, and I saw his picture. He was with his wife, Ms. Lang, and Marie Osmond. And out of that, I got 3 followers on Twitter. T.G. Shepherd followed me. His wife, Ms. Lang, followed me. And Marie Osmond actually followed me on X. The song is called, and this is where we need an edit feature, pause on the song is called Devil in a Bottle. And it's obviously about alcoholism, and the guy drinks too much. The very last song just absolutely blew me away. He stops singing. He sings the song to the very end. And then at the end of the song, he says, and it's killing her watching me die this way. And that just, I almost bring tear to my eyes hearing that now. It just absolutely, it affected me. And so Chad Kirkpatrick, that may be the answer to your song. That song affected me more. Now, I liked other pieces of music that came by, but that's that for that. And it's killing her watching me die this way. If you drank after that, I don't know. Which I did.
I know a guy that joined Alcoholics Anonymous because he had a problem. And when he first joined, they told him it was a 2-drink minimum, so he quit.
Oh, he quit? Okay. If you're not going to let me give my name, I ain't doing this. Mimi, who's written me on X before, said, have you ever talked about TV theme songs on your channel? And I have to go back. We did way back on episode 19,
wow,
which was our first season, I guess. The first time we started breaking things down into seasons. So, Mimi, go back to episode 19 if you're a member of our channel. All of our past episodes are posted. And episode 19 talks about our favorite, least favorite, and biggest hit theme songs from TV shows. And Mark asked us to remember, I'm not sure any information other than Mark. So Mark agreed, asked us. I mentioned 2 songs in 2 previous episodes, Maybe I'm Amazed, and Rock and Roll All Night, which were both released by Paul McCartney and Kiss. And the first time they were released, they went absolutely nowhere. They re-released, for instance, Maybe I'm Amazed was not released as a single originally. I've told this story before, but 6 years or so later, it became a huge hit with him doing it live. Same thing happened with Rock and Roll All Night by Kiss. It had a studio version that went absolutely nowhere. Here we go. On the closed captioning, and it's going to say Gary almost chokes. But I was just watching with closed captioning on one day, and it said, it was in the middle of one of my things, and it said, snort. I'm like, what?
Why don't you try to choke?
Yeah.
Thanks, I will.
Or choke. But he said, both those songs were released with live versions that became hits. And Mark asked me to remember I Want You to Want Me by, who did that song, Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
And it absolutely went nowhere, yes, when they released the original version. And I have the year 1977 written down. That must have been the year that it was a hit. So so I should have written down the original version. What I'm going to do, what I'm going to do today is I thought of the fact that it's 2026 and the fact that 50 years ago, I became I was in my third year of being the music director at WCMI in Ashland, Kentucky, which was a top 40 station. It was on the AM, and it went up against Key. And for an AM station, it didn't do badly. I had an absolute blast. Had Charlie Dunlap in here, who was my program director at WCMI, and he did part of our show, and he did one of our shows, rather. And I thought 50 years ago was 1976, and it was my last year. I mean, that's really going to make you feel old. 50 years ago, 1976. But there was a lot of music out, and I thought it might be fun not to mention all the biggest hits of 1976, but to look back at the people, groups, and artists that only had one song that hit the top 40 and then went away. So you might have some notes on this too.
No, frankly, I don't.
I'm going to go with one-hit wonders from 1976, 50 years ago. And I'm only doing the one-hit wonders because there were too many songs really to talk about each one. But I came up with 12 or 13 songs, and I'm going to go chronologically and also in the order that they were released. I couldn't find any one-hit wonders from January or February. Apparently, during the winter months, I don't know, things are a little off. But starting on March 13th, 1976, Nazareth, which I don't have any real information on it, but Nazareth released a song called Love Hurts. The killer song, number 8, I did not know this till I researched it, but the original versions of that song were done by the Everly Brothers. Roy Orbison did a version of Love Hurts, and a guy named Graham Parsons also did. None of the originals charted really in the U.S. For instance, Roy Orbison's version of Love Hurts was the flip side of a really big song called Running Scared. I'm running scared. So Roy was the first person to actually do Love Hurts. But that's also worth noting that there were radio stations, mostly FM rock stations, that flipped Love Hurts over and played Hair of the Dog, which was the name of the album. And I'm not going to get into why we didn't play it, but if you're familiar with the song, it's worth mentioning, I guess. March 20th, 1 week later, 1976, Larry Gross. Now, 76 had its hits, and then it had its sort of misses. But Larry Gross, I can't say too much about him because he's in the West Virginia Broadcasting Hall of Fame alongside of me. In fact, he got inducted several years before I did into the West Virginia Broadcasting Hall of Fame. Try saying that 5 times fast. I'm a little bit cold, to be honest with you, so you're going to hear me stumble a little bit. But Larry Gross did a song called Junk Food Junkie that went to number 9. And as I said, he's a fellow member of the Broadcasting Hall of Fame. And from 1983 to 2021, he hosted Mountain Stage, which was broadcast on West Virginia Public Radio, WVPR, and nationally broadcast on NPR, National Public Radio. So Larry Gross, it was a strange song, to say the least. Yep. It was one of the, Love Hurts goes to number 8. Larry Gross, Junk Food Junkie, almost goes to the same place. Yeah. It goes to number 9. And so if you've not heard Junk Food Junkie, go listen if you want to.
Dr. Pepper and an Old Moon Pie.
Yeah, yeah.
I had the privilege of meeting Larry.
Did you?
And working with him one day for West Virginia Day out on the plaza at 9th Street. Also there that day to sing was a young lady that I met. I had no idea who she was at the time.
It wasn't Sheena Easton, was it?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was going to say that she apparently was in Charleston. I knew nothing about it and had such a crush on her.
Well,
so who was the young lady?
Young lady was named Kathy Mattea.
Certainly.
And we stood and talked for 5 or 10 minutes. I had no idea who she was.
Right.
And
she is a big, was a big country.
Beautiful young lady. And not that I didn't enjoy talking to her, but what I did, I helped Larry set up the stage and the mics and all that stuff. It was it was a fun experience, to be honest. Larry was a great guy to be around, and really entertaining.
I never got to meet Larry, and so I need to maybe drop down here one of these induction ceremonies. Maybe he'll show up or something. But I never met Larry. But that's one. Now the next song comes chronologically. It's easy for me to say anything today. I've had very little sleep, and I had an ear problem yesterday that I thought was going to cost me the show today, but I'm here. So I'm going to skip the next song because I'm going to save it for the end. At the end of every show, I do something called You Gotta Hear This. And it's a song that didn't somehow make it as far as it should have. And I'm going to say that the next song, One Hit Wonder, it did make the top 40 from April 10th of that year. I'm going to move on to May 22nd, 1976. Elvin Bishop Group went to number 3 with another tremendous song, I think, called Fooled Around and Fell in Love. And that's got to meet, as you got to meet Kathy Mattea, I got to meet Mickey Thomas. Mickey Thomas was in the Elvin Bishop Group. For some reason, this song came their way. As I recall, I got to spend about 2 hours with Mickey Thomas. Mickey was the lead singer when Grace Slick wasn't for Starship and Jefferson Starship.
When Marty Ballin wasn't.
Yeah, and Marty Ballin, of course. I got to spend about 2 hours with him. I got to pick him up at the airport. I brought him to what we had back about 1988, I think it was. Somewhere in that vicinity, we did something called a star party. And Key brought in like 6 different stars. Guy programming, Pat Paxton, just an amazing guy. He could get on the phone and get somebody in town. And we had like 6 people there. And Mickey, I got to talk with, and I said, did it ever bother you that you're singing this song and everybody's saying it's the Elvin Bishop Group? And he said, from what I remember, he said Elvin was offered and had the option of doing the song, but it's just out of his range or something. So Mickey, who was a background player for Elvin Bishop, stepped up to the microphone, delivered the song, which became Elvin Bishop's only top 40 song. So
wouldn't have been the same without that his voice. He's
incredible song.
Such a great voice.
Now, May 8th, 1976, something that kind of kicked off a trend, I believe. This song went to number 1 by John Sebastian in 1976. The song was called Welcome Back. It was written as the theme song for Welcome Back, Kotter. And that's why I say it is a definite TV theme song. We've discussed this in the past. I'm not going to go over it again, but it was the theme song. John Sebastian wrote the song, went to number 1. Welcome Back, Kotter was a huge hit song, TV show, and John had previous hits with a group called the Lovin' Spoonful in the 60s and maybe very, very early 70s. But John Sebastian had only one song, and it went to number 1. June 8th, 1976, this is the trend that I think that started. People started thinking, well, you know what? The theme song to my TV show is as good as that one. John Sebastian goes to number one with Welcome Back. So on June 5th, I believe, June 5th, 1976, Pratt and McLean did a version of Happy Days, the Happy Days thing. I have looked as closely as I can to the ending credits. I can never see them really credited. I'm assuming somebody else may have done that, but it certainly sounded like the original theme. But I believe it went to number 5, and it marked a resurgence of TV theme songs. TV theme songs like SWAT and Miami Vice had been hits, and till John Sebastian brought the idea back. Shortly after Pratt McLean did that, Cindy Greco, a girl named Cindy Greco, apparently didn't make the top 40. Or didn't make my list with the theme to Laverne and Shirley. So there were a lot of TV theme songs coming out of at that time. On July 10th, 1976, the Starland Vocal Band, you either loved this song or you hated it. It went to number 1, Afternoon Delight. Don't need to really get into any more on that. It was about having fun in the afternoon.
Yeah, having an ice cream or something.
Having ice cream. And so Afternoon Delight went to number 1, and Starland Vocal Band never hit the chart again, possibly because of Afternoon Delight. July 24th, 1976, one of my favorite one-hit wonders of 1976, The Boys Are Back in Town by Thin Lizzy. Now, Larry Gross, nothing against you. Love all the members, fellow members of the Hall of Fame, and Larry certainly put West Virginia on the map. But Junk Food Junkie went to number 9. Thin Lizzy, Boys Are Back in Town went to number 12. And that was it. I don't know. Do you agree? Do you hate the song? Did you like it? Do you remember it much?
I remember it, yeah. But to me, novelty songs are they are what they are, and something like that's never going to come around again, probably. And they've unless Pac-Man Fever stuff.
Exactly.
And they get a little more attention, I think.
You're probably right about that. You're probably right about that. And I really, really like that song and was glad that I got to program it. I didn't leave WCMR till around probably October, and I became the news director at WTCR for about 3 months, 1976 to 77.
It was a long tenure, wasn't it?
Didn't like it. Yeah,
it seemed long.
I went back into top 40 radio. But your favorite, one of your favorites, August 14th, that's it for July, August 14th in 1976, Vicki Sue Robinson went to number 10. Again, you do like the song, don't you?
Turn the beat around.
Turn the beat around.
It was the I'm not going to say the height, but it was the crust of the disco movement.
Yes.
And you had these songs one right after another, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't get away from it. So it literally had to be a hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was pushed very hard by the record label, and I think it was on RCA. I'm not sure about that, but it went to number 10. And the numbers I'm quoting are from the Billboard Hot 100. There were other charts, Radio and Records, Cashbox, other charts that were made, but these are Billboard Hot 100 songs.
And Billboard themselves had 100 charts to look at.
That's true. One song came out of September in 1976. September 18th went to number 1. Frank Carter, I'm Not Gonna Forget You. Your favorite song or second favorite song of all time, Wild Cherries, Play That Funky Music. And during a previous show, we told the story that is based on fact, that song. If you remember the song, they were trying to be a rock band, And Wild Cherry was playing in a club that was losing people. People were leaving, and they were leaving to go to discos, which just starting out in 1976 around most of the country. And Wild Cherry, somebody came into Wild Cherry and said, somebody said after the song, play that funky music. White boy, I guess. And from that, the hit song, Play That Funky Music from Wild Cherry, went to #1. It has been classified as a disco song. I don't think of it as one. I think of it more in the pop rock vein. But it actually hit, and it may have hit #1 on the disco charts. So most of the disco music was coming out real beat driven, and while Play That Funky Music was, I don't know, it didn't make disco history in my mind, but it was a really, really good song.
We went over that song before when we did the disco shows. Three of those.
Yeah, they found out where everybody was going. While they were losing their rock audiences, everybody was going to discotheques. October, 3 songs came along. October 2nd, 1976. Song went to number 16 on October 2nd. It was called Wham Bang Shang-a-Lang. I always considered it to be kind of fluffy. What's the word I'm looking for? Bubblegum.
Yeah.
But the group was called Silver, and Arista Records put out their album. They had an album ready to go. And they didn't think any of the songs on the album were very good. They didn't think they were convinced none of the other songs they produced. So they gave Silver, or let the guy in Silver write the song Wham Bang Shang-a-Lang. I'm glad I'm not on the radio anymore. It ranked as the 71st biggest hit of the year in Billboard. Canada, it went to number 27. It made both Canada and U.S. adult charts. It was written by country songwriter Rich Giles. Rich wrote songs for, I'm trying to remember, he wrote songs for Reba McEntire, I think Dolly Parton. He wrote around 20, I believe, country songs. But Silver never had another hit. In Australia, the song went to number 62. And the album was just called Silver and was the only album they released. There was no follow-up to that.
In the Northern Hemisphere, it went to 26.
Exactly. October 9th, second song in October 1976. Song was 300, 400, 500, 600 years old. Beethoven's Fifth Symphony became a fifth of Beethoven. Once again, disco starts to enter the minds. Fifth of Beethoven went to number 1 on October 9th, 1976 by
Walter Murphy.
Walter, thank you. It's written down here, my little tiny Walter Murphy.
More of that subscript you write in.
Exactly. And then to wrap up my look at one-hit wonders in 1976, Disco Duck. Don't throw anything at me. Went to number 1, and you just explained the novelty factor very, very well. Disco Duck went to number 1. It was out October 16th in 1976. So, I mean, it just blows me away that Love Hurts went to number 8. And The Boys Are Back in Town went to number 12. And, Elvin Bishop went to number 3. And Rick Dees and his Cast of Idiots, Disco Duck, went to number 1. And was the final number 1 one-hit wonder of the year. Rick Dees did not.
The band was named correctly.
Yeah. and maybe listeners to the
But
song as well.
to add a little something to that, we may have said this before, but it bears repeating. I think that he was a DJ in Tennessee. Was it Nashville or Memphis?
I think it was Memphis,
Okay.
and
but I know he's in Tennessee, and the station he worked at would not allow him to play that song, or the station wouldn't play it at all, period, on the air at all, at any time, no matter who was on the air, because they thought there'd be a conflict of interest. So,
well, interesting. What do you do when one of your DJs has a hit? I just found additional notes about Silver. If you want to check out Wham Bang Shang-a-Lang, I'll never say that the same way twice. He wrote songs for Eddie Rabbitt, Ricky Van Shelton, Tracy Bird, Reba McEntire, and more. So he did all right for himself.
I think Ernest Tubb as well.
This with you, Ernest Tubb. Okay. So I'm done with that. Basically, I'm going to end my segment today with a one-hit wonder from 1976 that I didn't mention when it first came out. It came out April 10th, 1976, and it went to number 36. Actually, it was on Casablanca Records, which was brand new. Neil Bogart had the Casablanca label out, and it was just starting to come around. And actually, I think Larry Santos is the guy's name that I'm going to be talking about. I called him the White Barry White, not being racist at all, but he had that very kind of, you just got to listen to the song. That's why you got to hear this. You got to hear this song, Larry Santos, and the song, I can sing the song better than I can name it. The song was called We Can't Hide It Anymore. Larry Santos went to number 36 in 1976. One of the first acts, it says for some reason Kiss was one of the first groups signed on Casablanca. Maybe they were on Casablanca, I don't know. But check out Larry Santos. I played the song on WCMY. I don't know whether Key or WAMX played it. It was, there was a theme sort of forming in the early 70s about people having affairs. Billy Paul won a Grammy or 2 or 3 with Me and Mrs. Jones. #1 song, by far one of the best soul songs probably ever released. There was a song called Torn Between Two Lovers by a girl named Marion McGregor. So there were these songs about having affairs. Well, We Can't Hide It Anymore. I listened to it and I thought, this guy is amazing. This voice is amazing. And the song has sound effects, I guess, probably made by synthesizer that sounds like rain falling through the song. If you hear it, it wouldn't go away from me. And part of the lyric I can remember is, it begins with him singing, yesterday Willie, being the name Willie, yesterday Willie came here and he was so down and he asked if I'd seen you around, and I said no, but he knows the score. He knows the truth. We can't hide it anymore. And at the end of the song, the last verse, he says, now, what do we say to him? What do we do? And he's singing to the girl that he's having the affair with. He says, when you're the reason that his dreams have turned to dust, you're the one that had busted him up. And, you know, I mean, he shouldn't have blamed her, I didn't think. But I did like the song, so what You got to listen to this. It comes from Larry Santos. We Can't Hide It Anymore. And it's worth listening to, and probably somebody knows more about him than I do. That's all I can think of.
Well, that's it. Then that's
a good list of one-hit wonders. They all didn't go to number one, obviously,
right.
but they were the only appearance by that particular artist ever.
Well, that'll make you wonder what you were doing 50 years ago. Me personally, I was in my junior year of high school.
And I was in my third year of music directing,
and that was
a top 40 radio station, which I love.
That's amazing to think it was that far. I mean, I was in school. I was in a broadcasting medium, so to speak. I was doing television stuff in school.
Cool.
And was the director of their morning news show and all that good stuff. But
you probably don't remember We Don't Hide It. We Can't Hide It Anymore.
That's one that escapes me. I can't place that one. But it just makes us.
It escaped a lot of people because it only went to 36.
Yeah.
So it made enough impact that it hit the top 40, then goes to number 36, and then it disappears. And I never really understood, but the guy's voice is worth listening to the song.
Wow.
And the lyrics are worth too. So
right.
There we go.
I guess we are at the end of the rope here. So if you want to get a hold of this fella, you can do it on X. He's at Gary Music Miller. That's Twitter for some people.
That's right.
For us,
it always will be.
You can get him on still on Facebook. You can get him on
very rarely.
You get him at rdwgmm@gmail.com. That is the email address to write to.
And it gets to Dave as well.
Yeah,
so.
Any one of those, we'll get him. And the end of March, we'll do all our messages and emails and things like that. Follow up and get all those out of the way.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them out of the way today, just because of the cheap trick thing. I didn't want to get out of people's minds. But you could also make a comment down below.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
on the comment box down here.
Yeah.
So remember also that we are, like I said earlier, we are at the Museum of Radio and Technology, 1640 Florence Avenue in Huntington. They are very gracious in allowing us to do our program here. You can check them out online at mrtwv.org.
They provide us the mock studio.
Yes, they do. They mock us every time. And we just, we can't say enough good things about them for allowing us to use the facility. Okay, we are done. We thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you. So for Gary Music Miller, I'm Dave Black. Thanks. Have a good week. God bless. We'll see you next time.